Hi guys, I got a big letter from the Swedish Police. I'm usually very happy when I get letters from the Swedish Police because it means that I get a license or something for a nice hunting rifle or whatever. This time it is. I'm gonna translate this from Swedish to English. For you living in the Stockholm region, do you want to contribute to affect safety where you live? They're using the word trygghet, which means basically how safe you feel. You want to affect how safe you feel, not actual safety, I guess. That would be asking too much. During this spring, the police measures trygghet or feeling of safety in the area where you live. You are one out of approximately 85,000 people in the ages 16 to 84 that is randomly selected to participate in this investigation. We ask you to answer the questions sent to you. Blah blah blah. We want to know how you view eventual issues in your area, and if you have been affected by crime in the last year. If you feel anxious to continue to be affected by crime, and if you feel safe in your area. The result from this measurement is a very important part in the police and the municipalities' crime prevention and safety, trying to create the feeling of safety for people. So they're measuring the feeling of safety or trygghet. That is a metric that is very important for the Swedish police. So they come out in the Swedish television, the state propaganda television, and with the results of this investigation, and say people are now feeling much more safe. So if people are feeling much more safe, that's mainly depending on propaganda. Then they say that everything is fine. If people are feeling less safe, they tend to ignore this investigation and say that, well, this metric has become better. For example, they had some focusing on some certain types of crime, and they managed to push that crime to some other area, and they say, well, in this area, this type of crime has been lowered. Or they just don't look for that piece of crime, so they don't have any statistics for it, and then they can just dream and say that it's suddenly better. It isn't. It's not getting better. Anyway. Is there anything else? It's confidential, blah, blah, blah. And they're lying and telling me that this is not tied to my name that's on this piece of paper. Right, so they're also saying that please use the online version because we want to save the trees and be environmental, even though they already printed it for me. Yeah, so let's put this aside and have a look at the web page. Let's just minimize me here. Whoop, there we go. You can have a tiny HaggeBanke in the corner. So let's log in and have a look at this. No, I don't want to save that password. So, oops, that was wrong. There we go. So already it's kind of funny. You can choose Swedish, English, squiggles, other squiggles, Somali, and a third type of squiggles. I thought I lived in Sweden. Apparently I don't. I might have grown up in Sweden, but I'm not living here anymore. Let's just pick Swedish and be the odd one out in Sweden to actually speak Swedish. Here we go. Oh, wait. I have an English audience. Let's pick English anyway. Sorry about that. I don't want to translate everything. Let's just go with English for now. You answer this questionnaire by selecting the most appropriate question. Answer is confidential and will only be presented in blah blah blah. Right, well, you navigate back and forth by clicking on the back and forth. Right. If you go out alone at night in the area where you live, do you feel safe or unsafe? I do not go out at night because I fear falling victim to crime. And that's pretty much true. I live very close to a subway station and a train station. And subway stations and train stations are like nexuses of crime. It's high traffic areas and people are usually assaulted around these places. So there are certain services online where you can see where all the crime is happening. And just around my neighborhood, so if I go in one direction, I have a dark forest. I go in the other, I have a subway station, and I'm surrounded. And there's a lot of crime in my area, even though I live in a quite upscale area. So I don't really go out at night. And there's a lot of like cars being piled up on shit, and they steal the tires. And my downstairs neighbor had a burglary. Shit happening all the time. So yeah, I don't feel safe. Let's see here. In the last 12 months, you have refrained from participating in any of the following activities because you feel unsafe, blah, blah, blah. Going to the cinema or theater. Yes, but that's mainly COVID. Restaurant, pub, dance hall, folk park, and another place of entertainment. Yeah. So I remember going to the local pub, and someone showed up. So the local pub is the local football supporter club just across the street from me. And someone came to my table, this big shaved dude with strange tattoos, and asked me, so where's your season pass for the football team? Show it to me. And I said, I don't give a shit about football. And he started explaining to me he just got out of prison because he murdered someone with an axe, and I really should show him this football pass. Eventually I got him to fuck off. So yeah, I try to avoid that place since then. I don't go to sporting events at all. Well, I go to shooting sport events, so I'm gonna have to say no to that, because I organize those with people I know personally. Association, meeting, courses, similar events. Yeah, well, that's COVID. Threaten or harass the subject of violence. No, that's not why I don't go there. Cinema or theater. So the cinema where I live is frequented by immigrants, basically. So I don't go there. They just like 50 people just following you with their eyes, looking at you as you were a fresh piece of meat. No. Courses of similar events. No, I haven't even considered going to that because of COVID. Taking a bus or train. Yes, certainly. Are there places in the area where you live that you avoid at certain times of the day due to concerns about becoming a victim of a crime? During the day? Yes, there are. There is an area fairly close by. We call it Blåkulla. I try to avoid going there. It's usually safe. It's usually safe all the time in all places, but there are areas where people getting stabbed, getting shot, and all that. Even though just down the street from me, I saw a little pile of flowers and a picture of an immigrant child. Obviously, someone who's a casualty of something. I don't know what. I don't remember reading that in the news. This happens so much that it doesn't even come up in the news. So yeah, there's several places in the immediate area I don't go to even during the day. I can't select both. Well, okay. Well, let's just put that and let's pick evening there as well. This site is fairly shitty. What else is a good place? Well, I don't. Let's just put that. Problems in the area where you live. Do you feel that problems below occur where you live or nearby? Darkly or poorly lit areas. Feel that problems below occur where you live or nearby. Well, darkly or poorly lit areas, is that a problem? This is a very strange question, but okay. Yes, to some degree, I guess. Because if it's dark or poorly lit, it's obviously going to be an issue. Graffiti, yes, we have that all the time. Littering, of course. Vandalism all the time. Setting fires, rubbish bins. No, they set fire to cars. That shit's happening. Mopeds, motorbikes. No, that's not a big issue. So usually where I live, just the immediate area, the people who are the problem doesn't actually live where I live, so they usually don't. So in more, we're not allowed to say no-go zones. That's illegal basically. So whatever is the political term for that, those areas have problems with mopeds and motorbikes and shit. Cars on footpaths, no. Rowdy neighbors, no. My neighbors are nice. Drunk people who cause a nuisance, to some degree, but most drunks aren't really an issue. The drunks around here are, we call them A-lagare. They're usually kind of quiet. Even the mentally ill people are usually very happy. The problem aren't those people. Drug abusers who cause nuisance in public. Residences frequented by drugs, no. Drug abuser, no. Selling of drugs out in the open, no, not really here. People who argue and fight outside. Forceful begging, yes, very often. There's a shitload of beggars everywhere. Youth gangs who fight and cause a nuisance to some degree. Criminal gangs, yes, very often. So you didn't see that selection because I can't scroll down. Well, can I? Let's see here. No, that's the wrong button. Let me do what I want. No, it won't let me. Whatever. So the criminal gangs come from the suburbs, other suburbs, the so-called no-go areas, and they come here and commit crime. So I talked to every street, every vendor on the street, and everyone has been robbed. They wait outside when they close the shops, the little hamburger grill, 100 meters from where I live. They've been robbed several times. So immigrant gangs come, wait with baseball bats or knives or whatever, and steal the cash money they have. Which is stupid because no one uses cash anymore. So yeah, they don't get much money. But that happens all the time. So yeah, criminal gangs is a problem. In the last 12 months, have you been the victim of physical violence that caused pain? Not the last 12 months, but people have tried to rob me and shit like that. So I can't say that I have been personally, but I know a lot of people who has though. So the best way to avoid that shit is to stay indoors, and type in your computer. Yeah. So the thing with this is it forces people to change their habits. You can't walk outside, even in an upscale area. You can't walk outside and be 100% certain that you will not get robbed or abused or something. But that's another Sweden that doesn't exist anymore. In the last 12 months, has anyone threatened you with violence or other crime with intent of scaring you? No. Have been a victim of theft. Yeah, someone stole my bike. I guess that qualifies. So that's an issue. Bikes are always stolen. Always stolen. They're so brazen with it. They just drive up someplace with a big truck and just throw the bikes on the truck. And yeah, it's ridiculous. What's this? Victim of theft inside your home. Where's this car? It doesn't have a bike selection for the theft. Ah, there it is. A bike. Yes, one time. There we go. Victim of vandalism. Yes. Not inside my home, fortunately. Inside your home. 3 times or more of other, because it's the house where I live. They do tags and shit on it. In the last 12 months, you've been a victim of fraud. Cheated you, making a financial loss. No. Well, they tried to beg money from me. I'm not sure if that counts though. That is fraud though, according to me at least. Have you reported this to the police? No. It's meaningless to report anything to the police. It's mainly used for insurance purposes because no crime is ever solved in Sweden, basically. So I checked the statistics for 2019 the other day, and we had 1.5 million crimes in Sweden in 2019, and we have about 10 million inhabitants. And of that 1.5 million, 10,000 people were 10,000 sentences, because it could be the same people as well, was handed out with a prison term of some kind, which is usually not that much. And about 30,000 other sentences, like a fine, was handed out. So about 40,000 sentences out of 1.5 million crimes that was reported. But many crimes are not reported. Many young people are robbed, etc., and they won't report it. They won't even tell their parents. They'll just get scared. So there's a big we don't know how many crimes, especially a crime against a person. We don't know how many of those actually happen. So these investigations are one way to try to find out. But that's just a rough estimate anyway. During the 12 months, has it occurred that you have worried about being the victim of burglary in your home? Yes, quite often. As I said, my downstairs neighbor was robbed. He had a burglary. So of course I worry about it. It could just easily have been me. Very easily have been me, because I live in the same house. And the police, of course, did not catch anyone, even though they have witnesses, a good description of the car, of the people, and the time, and they were called almost immediately. Didn't catch anyone. The house next to mine was robbed. Someone had this store that sells jewelry, and he had a big safe at the home filled with jewelry, and they just smashed the door into the apartment. And he had an alarm system that was directly connected to an alarm company, and they phoned up the police immediately. The burglars took the safe, managed to get it loose from the wall, and just threw it downstairs several floors. It just echoed in the entire area, and put it on a red Jeep and then drove away. And the police still didn't manage to catch them. A red Jeep with a safe on the back. That shouldn't be that hard to find. Go figure. Still didn't catch anyone. And that was with the police being informed immediately the crime happened. So yeah, that's Sweden for you. And the police station is just a kilometer or two away from where I live and where that person also lives. Yes, I'm worried about having a burglary in my storage, worried about your car, blah, blah, blah. I can answer yes quite often 2 times. That's a strange thing. That you have worried about being assaulted, physically abused, yes. That's why I don't go outside that much. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The police care about the problems that exist in the area where I live. Not Not I'm gonna select not I actually do believe that police care, at least individual police officers. But we have a saying in Sweden that the police is hunting sticks. De jagar pinnar. And what we mean with that is they try to fix the statistics by mainly catching white middle-aged people like me driving too fast and then handing out the ticket, because that looks good in the statistic. Then you can say, we have solved so many crimes. So that statistic I talked about earlier, most of that is regular people getting a fine for driving slightly too fast on some road. And the police really don't go after the real criminals. They try, I guess, but they are incompetent usually. And that's one of the main reasons, is that the education for police is shit. A friend of mine went to Södertörn, which is an infamous school for its being totally radically left-wing, where they learned that one of the things they learn at the police academy is that there's 7 different biological sexes. So male, female, and God knows what. Shit like that. So yeah, the quality of the police have gone down. The real police officers have mainly all quit. I think I read statistics that 80% of the police officers have said that they wanted to quit, and this was like back in 2016 or something. So God knows how many of those are left. Yeah, so not on that question. A question about the actions of the municipality. Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? The municipality cares about the problems that exist in the area where I live. Not sure. I actually don't know. I'm gonna have to say partly agree. It's just that they might try to do stuff like that, but every time I've been in contact with the municipality, I ask them, for example, what happens when the water turns bad? Do you have a plan? If the water turns bad, do you have like something prepared for that scenario? Because that usually happens in Sweden. It happens all the time. Because water pipes needed to be changed like 50 years ago or something. All the upkeep of everything is not happening in Sweden. So I asked them, and they said, well, if that happens, we'll probably figure something out. Yeah, when it happens, it's already too late. You're gonna have to have a plan now. Idiots. So yeah, I'm not confident in the municipality, because it's all the politicians in municipalities are basically one step from retarded all over Sweden. So yeah, but one of my favorite politicians in Sweden, Hanif Bali, he comes from Solna. He's moved now, but he's actually a neighbor of mine. He used to be just down the street from where I live. Nice guy. Anyway, he does care. So they get a partly agree just because of him. What is your gender? I'm going to press other just to troll them. Where year of birth? Boop. How old am I? I'm old. Let me click the button. What is your main occupation at the moment? Private employee. I live with my parents. No, I'm not. Your answers have now been registered. Thank you for your participation and for answering our questions. Boop. Yeah, so that's the company that does this shit for them. Let's just maximize me again. Where is the button? There's the button. Right. So, yeah, that's the police trying to figure shit out. I'm not sure what should be done against the situation in Sweden. Just the other day, someone bombed an apartment building, blew out all the windows, and the entrance was just bricks on the ground. Shootings happens all the time. I think it was... I think I read a summary of the last few years, and it was like 1,000 plus, almost 1,500 shootings where over 100 people were killed. God knows how many was wounded. And then they have all the stabbings, the beatings, the robberies, the rapes, everything. Everything is going to shit, and all the drug trades and all that. And it's just getting worse and worse. It's so much shit. You can, whatever you look, which rock you look under, it's going to be filled with shit. Doesn't matter what, really. And Sweden is slowly turning more totalitarian. So the current government said that the opposition is a threat against democracy. And when the current government says that, that is a big fucking warning, red warning flag that tells you that the current government is not interested in democracy anymore, whatever they say. And the laws they propose to limit insight into the democratic process, everything is just looking wrong. So one thing with totalitarian governments, no matter the degree of totalitarianism, is that a word? Like the scale from Sweden now to North Korea, it doesn't matter. Everyone is very much worried about face, about looking good. There's a nice word called a Potemkin village. So Yeah, basically what that means is you put up a big facade, what's the word? A shiny, polished surface where it might be shit behind it, but the surface is really nice. It looks good. And then you say that this surface is the truth. This map you're looking at is the truth. And even though that is a map of the planet Mars and you're on Earth, the reality does not matter. Only the map you have written yourself with crayons and bullshit. That's what's happening right now. And the downside of that is it's like theology and politics all in one. It's mainly a religion at the moment, where these utopian assholes gets worse and worse and worse. And since they're totalitarian, they don't look at the individual, they look at the collective. And if you stick out of the mold, they're gonna chop you off. So this shit only leads to one place, and you all know it. Just look at the Soviet Union for the answer to this. Right, I've been rambling and ranting too long already. I did my civic duty and answered the police. Have a nice day, everyone.